Welcome to episode 13 of the Path to Better A1C podcast. This week, I am so excited about talking about carbs, right? The smart approach to eating carbs and how you can actually manage your blood sugar, prevent diabetes, and still have them as part of your diet. Now, they have been the hero, they have been the villain, and is the most confusing part of nutrition for decades. First, it was low fat everything in the 90s, you remember? Then Atkins and keto took over. And all of a sudden, it went from fat being the bad one to carbs being the public enemy number one. And I think we're kind of still in that era. Now, we hear a lot about good carbs and bad carbs, and it's no wonder that so many people are frustrated when it comes to knowing what to eat. Now, here's the truth. Carbs are not the enemy. Repeat after me. Carbs are not the enemy. Your body actually needs them for energy, for hormone production, for overall health. The key isn't cutting them out entirely. Fat is not the enemy. I may have another episode just to cover that. We need balance. That is the key word when it comes to food, nutrition, actually on everything. It's balance, right? So your body needs carbs. Now, the key is not cutting them out entirely, but understanding which carbs support your health goals, which ones can actually work against you, and also how to pair them. And I am going to talk about this on the live webinar that I have scheduled on March 17th at noon Eastern Standard Time. I will put the link to register in the show notes, but this is something that I'm going to cover. Like I'm specifically covering what to do and how to switch certain things to balance your blood sugar while still including carbs. But let's continue. Now, have you ever wondered, should I cut out carbs completely? Why do I feel so tired when I eat carbs? How do I enjoy my favorite foods without spiking my blood sugar, without raising my A1C, without risking developing diabetes? Well, this is the episode for you. Again, this is the last chance for you to register for the free live workshop that I have on Monday, March 17th at noon Eastern Standard Time. The 3-step blueprint for stable blood sugar. You're going to have clear steps, what to follow, and I am going to show you how to do that. So register, please. And if you cannot attend, newsflash, I may send a replay over. So register even if there is a conflict. Now, what are you going to learn on this episode? Why carbs got a bad reputation and why they shouldn't be feared. The best types of carbs to keep blood sugar steady. How carbs affect energy and hormones. And also simple swaps to reduce your sugar intake. And if you didn't listen to the previous episode, go and listen. And I talk a lot about sugar and how to make these carbs work for you instead of against you. Now let's go back in time and hear about why did carbs get such a bad reputation, right? For the last few decades, carbs have been blamed for weight gain, for diabetes, for inflammation. But it wasn't always like that. In the early 2000s, low-carb diets like Atkins surged in popularity, right? Suddenly bread, rice, fruit. I still fight that with my clients. They're so afraid of fruit and to incorporate that in their diets, but they were seen as dangerous. And then you're getting all these protein-heavy diets taking over. But here's the thing. Not all carbs are created equal. The issue isn't carbohydrates themselves, but it's the type, the way that they're processed in our bodies, and how you pair them. And I'm going to give you a little tip that I tell all of my clients, all of my potential clients, when we have clarity calls, if they ask me for one tip, I just tell them one thing: do not eat carbs alone. Complex, good, bad, however you want to label them, do not eat them alone. Pair them with protein or healthy fat. Now, let's continue. The carbs have a very specific role with our bodies, right? It has a role in terms of energy. It has a role for hormones. Now, carbs are your body's primary energy source. When you eat them, they break down into glucose, they fuel your brain, they fuel your muscles, they even have a part in hormone production. Your body relies on stable blood sugar levels to regulate insulin, cortisol, and serotonin. And if you know anything about that, it's called the happy hormone, right? Like your mood boosting hormone. Um, so you see how carbs are not so bad after all? That's why, though, when you eat too many refined carbs, right? Like white bread, soda, you get that quick energy high. That's why when you're not eating well throughout the day or you skip meals, you're craving everything sugar. Why? Because your body is naturally looking for energy, energy that doesn't have. And what is going to gravitate towards? The sources of energy that are quick, carbs. That's why you have these cravings in the middle of the afternoon, this mid-afternoon slump. Most likely your diet is not balanced. Most likely you skipped breakfast or lunch. Most likely you're not having enough protein and fiber in your diet. And that's why all you want to eat is sweet stuff. It's a natural response. So right after that, what comes? It comes the crash, right? So we need to change the way we choose carbs so that they can provide lasting energy without that crash. Now, I will share a few tips, carb smart tips for blood sugar control. And now that you know that carbs are not the enemy, let's talk about making smart choices. The best way to enjoy carbs without messing with your blood sugar is to focus on quality and balance. Now, choose whole fiber-rich carbs. Fiber helps with the blood sugar not creating that spike that is very sudden. So the more processed, the whiter the carb is, and the least amount of fiber it is, the higher the spike and the higher the crash, right? So think of oats. Take steel coat oats instead of the quick ones. Quinoa, beans, fresh fruit, whole fruit. They digest slowly and they keep you full and energized. I already said this, but pair carbs with protein and fat. It slows your digestion, it prevents those blood sugar spikes, and try even an apple with peanut butter or whole grain toast with eggs. Just don't have the bread alone or don't have the apple alone. Pair it with either fat, protein, and you're going to experience a difference right away. Now, watch out for hidden sugars. And if you haven't listened to my previous episode, episode 12, I talk all about hidden sugars. Check the food labels, especially the things like yogurt, granola, bread. The lower the added sugar, the better. Don't drink your sugar or don't drink your calories. While I recommend my clients to get like protein shakes and protein drinks, I advise them to use them as emergency food, but not to heavily depend on them. Because again, a lot of them have added sugar, have juice, all these sweet teas, the sodas. They're the fastest way to spike your blood sugar because there is no fiber in there and they're easily processed. So stick with water, herbal teas, coffee without the added sugar. Try infusing the water, add even some electrolytes. That will actually help. Also, practice portion control. Do you realize that an actual serve of rice is about half a cup or a third cup of pasta, right? So it's a bit scary. Now, how do you make that work? Use the diabetes plate. And there is an episode that's going to come explaining all that. But half of your plate should be vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, all colors, non-starchy. A quarter of your plate should be protein, and another quarter of your plate should be carbs. That's how you know that you can incorporate it in your diet without depriving yourself, but practice that portion control. And experiment with low carb swaps, right? Um, if there's like one good thing about all these low carb diets is that it has created an influx of recipes and ways of recreating favorites that are not heavy on carbs. Cauliflower rice. This was definitely a new thing. Zucchini noodles, right? Some will actually find great to mix regular white potatoes, mashed potatoes, and mix it with mashed cauliflower to bring a little bit of balance and lower that carb intake while you're still enjoying your foods, right? So experiment with that. And again, bring the balance. Carbs are not the enemy. Now, when you choose the right ones, when you prioritize those that are least processed, when you apply the concept of the diabetes plate and pair them properly, they can support steadily energy. They balance your hormones. You're going to be in a better mood because that serotonin that you need for your mood swings is going to be there. And you're going to have better blood sugar control. It's all about making these very simple, small, sustainable shifts to your diet that you can do it without feeling guilty, without feeling deprived. So, again, if you want to know more, join my free live workshop on Monday, March 17th at 12 Eastern Standard Time. And newsflash, if you cannot make it, you will still get a replay. You may miss on a special surprise that I have for those that stay until the end, but even if you can, you will still get a replay. So just register. I will teach you exactly how to keep your blood sugar steady without cutting the carbs. Thank you so much for joining me and granting me space into your time. And let's continue raising awareness. Let's continue learning and making these decisions in a mindful way that we can actually enjoy a lot of these food groups without restrictive diets, creating balance, creating portion control, and improving our health and wellness in the process. My mission and my goal is to bring awareness, to get those that have pre-diabetes to reverse it, to get those that are high at risk in developing diabetes to actually prevent developing it. And even for those that have diabetes, a lot of these changes will actually impact your blood sugars. They will lower your A1C. And I have seen some clients that actually have been able to successfully being taken off medication and maintaining blood sugar levels at a normal range. So don't dismiss these simple changes. They have an amazing impact. Until the next one, bye.